Hi, and welcome to the third Vita Player Podcast. My name's Sven Harvey.
And I'm Simon Plumbe. Thank everyone for downloading the first couple of episodes of the show, and for still putting up with us and joining us again this time, and for all of the positive feedback you've given us for the last few episodes.
Now, coming up in the show, we've got a little bit on the PS Plus lineup for May, usual chat, and even a competition right at the end, so do keep listening.
Okay, PlayStation Plus, they've just announced the lineup for May 2015. There's 4 games for Vita owners this time. Unfinished Swan, Race the Sun, and Ho Ho Come, which are all cross-buy with the PS3 and PS4.
Mm-hmm. And then it's Murasaki Baby as well,
which is a Vita-only title. All 4 are indie games this time round, which has had caused a bit of a stir over in the official PlayStation blog, both in the EU and the US. Although US gamers seem to be a little bit more forgiving of this.
Yeah.
But what do you think about this month's lineup?
Well, it is a shame there isn't a commercial physical release there as a download, because a lot of people have got used to that. But considering the number of games coming out on Vita Card are dropping, I don't see a huge problem with this. I mean, this is the thing: is that 80% of the output for the Vita now is download only.
Yeah.
If not more. Of course, we're going to have months like this now. So I don't understand why people are complaining. I mean, they've got 4 games instead of 2 for a start. Okay, it's because of the cross-buy, but still, it's 4 games on the Vita.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I can't understand that people have been obviously really critical of it, that it's this whole notion of the indie games and so-called AAA games, that if it's not AAA, then it's automatically a bad game, and AAA games are automatically good games. This whole, the whole argument over what makes it, whether a game is automatically good, by its very nature of whether it's come out from a major publisher, it's had a multi-million-pound budget or whatever.
Yeah. And there's people like me who are going, Call of Duty, how incredibly boring, or FIFA, how incredibly boring.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that none of these games are from major publishers, yet you've got something like the Unfinished Swan, which is a BAFTA award-winning game.
Twice, 2 BAFTAs.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at indie games, I mean, the only thing that separates an indie game from a so-called AAA game, in my eyes, is that the developers have had a pretty much free rein to do what they want with their titles, so they can be a lot more creative in terms of the type of games they release, what they put into the games. There's no constraints in that sense.
There's certainly no investors going, oh no, it needs to be like this game last year.
Yeah. So there's no commercialisation of those games. Mm-hmm. It's just strange. I mean, quality-wise, the size of a development team is certainly no indication of quality. I mean, indie developers, obviously, the studios are significantly smaller.
Yeah.
In the case of Axiom Verge, it's a one-man studio. Minutes, Richard
sounds familiar.
Yeah, Richard Ogden wrote Minutes on his own.
Yeah.
And that's been a critically acclaimed game.
Yeah.
So whether it's 100 people working on a game or one person developing a game, if the game is still good, that shouldn't make any difference.
No, quite.
Whether a game comes in retail packaging or it's
download only,
purely download, again, if it's a game that you enjoy playing, it shouldn't make any difference.
Exactly. And much as I love having the physical version of something, it basically is opening up the possibility of having games we wouldn't get any other way, that are, breaking barriers and not having to fit into the same cookie cutter kind of situation that we've had in the video games market for the last 15 years now.
Yeah. It's the thing. Retailers will only stock certain types of games.
Yeah.
If Lamasoft had took TXK as an example to a store like Game wouldn't touch it.
No.
They'd take one look at it and think it's not going to sell. They wouldn't want to put it on the shelf.
Yeah.
But it's one of, if not the best game to grace the Vita.
Well, yeah, I'm not entirely going to agree with you, but it is a very, very good game.
There's two people wrote that game, so you class it as an indie game.
Yeah.
I'm not going to obviously go on about the history for Lamasoft's history, but
no, don't need to, surely.
But back in the 80s, Llamasoft were actually classed as a AAA developer
Oh yeah.
and publisher.
It all depends on your definition, doesn't it?
So, again, exactly, a definition of AAA publisher. Yeah, back in the 80s, a big AAA game was written by anything between 1 and 3 people.
Yeah.
All the major film and TV tie-ins, it was a programmer, an artist, musician. That was it.
Mm.
So the games that we now consider to be indie were the AAA retail box games.
Quite.
So the industry's changed completely. Anyway.
I love the fact that everybody who was involved in the industry right at the beginning and the formative years are now hailing what Sony and Steam and Microsoft, to a much lesser degree, are doing to bring in new talent, because it's allowing bedroom coders to happen again.
Yeah.
So,
but there aren't many people
giving them the chance.
Yeah, but from a gamer side of things, there aren't many people, without wanting to sort of say this out loud, there are a lot of people our age that have been around long enough to have seen the old, the games industry from the beginning of the 80s.
Young man!
Looking on the shelf now in my games collection, I can see games I bought when they first came out in 1981. Now, I bet all our listeners now are wondering sort of how old am I? When did I start playing games? But
oh my!
But
says the bloke slowly pushing his copy of Shadow of the Beast out of range of his visual acuity.
But I got games that I bought back in 1981, and that were at the time the big box releases, the AAA titles written by one bloke.
Yep, exactly, and completely text.
But games from Jeff Minter, written on his own. These were the full price games that you got in all the shops.
Which were what, $3.99 at the time? But not the cartridge ones, obviously.
when people complained about games being too expensive at £8, £9 a time.
Yeah.
And here we get people complaining now when an indie game is sort of £9, £10 a time on the store.
Strange. Yeah, I know what you mean. But going back to this lineup for May, I mean, you've got Unfinished One, 2 BAFTAs, Race for the Sun. Was the review score on that was reasonably good on the site, wasn't it?
I think I gave it about a 7, if I can remember right. So it's kind of had sort of average to good reviews generally across the board. Hohokum
got a BAFTA nomination, so you can't exactly say this is all drivel. And as for Murasaki Baby, the only reason it got 6 from me on Vita Player was the simple fact that it's about half as long as it really feels like it needs to be.
Yeah.
So my biggest problem was value for money. Well, now it's a freebie download.
Yeah.
If you've got PlayStation Plus. That doesn't really apply anymore. Get it? It's a lovely way of showing off what the machine can do.
Yeah, and the thing that, I mean, this is what you're saying, I mean, about the value for money. This is another issue that people have been commenting on, that, they don't seem to think that they're getting their money's worth out of PlayStation Plus. They're going about, all we're getting is indie games, where are our AAA games? At the end of the day, PlayStation Plus, and I'm sure we've touched on this before, it's £40 a year.
Yep.
For that, I mean, this month it's 4 games.
Yep.
This is less than £4 for those 4 games. Yes, it's only a rental service, but at the end of the day, but is it £1 to have unlimited use of these games each? That's nothing.
Yeah.
It's not even a bag of crisps and a bar of chocolate.
And quite, especially the price of chocolate these days. What gets me, I mean, this is the thing, is that I look at them as being owned by me now, because it's not like I'm ever going to not continue my PlayStation Plus. So, I don't understand that. Plus, you've got the whole discount thing, haven't you? Because this is the thing, people are going, oh, well, I've only got these games to download. Well, you've also got a percentage discount off quite a chunk of the store.
Yeah, this is something that people seem to forget as well. I mean, it's not every game that's discounted, and the offers tend to change from week to week.
Yeah.
But at the time of recording this, Broken Age came out a couple of days ago, and it came out with a launch discount, with 30% off its release price, and that was a massive £6 off. for anyone that actually decided to buy that, straight away you're saving more than the price of your PlayStation Plus membership in one purchase for that month.
Yeah, quite. Because even if you're buying PlayStation Plus for every 3 months, it's only £12 for 3 months.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And if you decide to go for the monthly option, I think that's £5.49. I think.
Yeah.
So you've saved more than 1 month's membership in a single transaction.
Yeah, quite.
So it's madness, really, to be dismissive. Even if you only buy PlayStation Plus just for the discounts, then you can save money that way.
Yeah.
But what I found really frustrating reading the blog is the comments people are making about the games at the moment. Is people have been so dismissive of indie titles, and there's people who have said, "Oh, it's more indie rubbish. I'm not going to bother with these. I'm not going to download them. They're all rubbish. Don't want to know." And they're not even giving them a chance. They're not even trying to download them, having a look. They're not playing them. It's just an instant indie's bad. Don't want to know.
Closed-minded.
Yeah.
Completely closed-minded.
Oh, no. You kind of get a bit riled by it.
It's as if, I mean, this is the thing. Is that we've much as it pains me to say this, we've been around so long. We remember the bedroom coders of old, and people are so stuck on having to have the same game supplied to them over and over again with slightly changed graphics, and that would be a AAA title and be the only thing they're interested in.
Yeah.
They're not interested in anything that's even remotely different, and it's kind of worrying.
Or in the case of FIFA on the Vita, they haven't even changed the graphics. It's just the same game.
Yeah, with just a data file changed.
Yeah, but that's a subject for another time, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think we've got a good lineup this month.
Yeah.
I think people just need to be a little bit more open-minded. I mean, the AAA games, I think Sony have got to... It is a case of spending a lot of money. It's down to what publishers themselves are willing to allow Sony to have. And I think people do seem to forget this, that it's not just a case of Sony going to give this, and this away. If a game is going to be made available through PlayStation Plus, it's the publishers and the developers themselves that have to say, yes, you can give our game away.
Yeah. Because it's still money changing hands in reference to this. So, it's still sales in a way. But, I mean, I must admit, though, I would imagine on some of the PlayStation blogs and stuff like that, it's got to be PS3 and PS4 owners who are also moaning their heads off, left, right, and centre. And they kind of have a point on PS4, I feel, because what hasn't helped is the so-called leaked list, which was completely false.
Yeah,
has been kicking around. But they had one big point with NAC. That's surely way past its sell-by date as far as getting retail sales is concerned, and yet virtually nobody's given it a chance. And my kids absolutely loved it, so that'd be perfect to put out about now.
But I think again though it'll come back to the whole thing about people never being satisfied, because if NAC hit PlayStation Plus, I think we'd still find the situation where people would say, well, I've already got it, so PlayStation Plus is no good this month, or I don't like this type of game, so PlayStation Plus is awful, and we will never get the thing.
Okay, let's make this very clear to the people listening. If something's on PlayStation Plus, try it. Give it a go. You never know, you might love it. Give it a shot and don't look past the graphics. I mean, we go back in time and we bring back Shadow of the Beast again. Let's be honest, Shadow of the Beast looked gorgeous, sounded better, played like a brick.
Unless it was the Commodore 64 version.
What?
The Commodore 64 version was better than the Amiga version.
Well, it had more layers of parallax scrolling, I'll give you that, but it was on a cartridge. It was cheating.
Yeah, but they did improve the playability as well.
Did they?
Yeah, it was better.
Okay.
But that's
I'm imagining the new one will be even better.
But that's again something for another show.
Yes, absolutely.
But still with the Vita.
Uh-huh.
This supposed 3000 series Vita. Yeah.
When I first saw that news story and saw the picture, I just went, guys, really? Is anybody paying attention? Seriously, that's a Series 1000 Vita. They've just put rings around.
Yeah, I mean...
Am I right in thinking it was just... I didn't pay any attention to it, because the moment I saw the picture that was kicking around, I just went, you people are stupid.
Yeah, basically what happened was some trademarks that were filed in Japan.
Yeah, is this for remote play by any chance? And
No.
the way the buttons are used in remote play?
No,
Okay.
there were trademarks that were filed in Japan and these stories got picked up pretty much every news site.
Yeah.
That Sony filed a trademark for a new Vita design, and everyone's suddenly, all these sites picked up on it. It's the 3000 series Vita. It's got to be a new Vita.
It's a 1000 series unit in the pictures.
This is basically what
I don't
happened.
understand.
What seemed to happen was that all these sites were going mad talking about it. It's a new Vita on the way. It's the 3000 series and all that lot. It wasn't. There was a website that picked up on it first called Dual Shockers, which we reported on after they did as well. What happened is that it wasn't a console that was being trademarked.
No.
There were two trademarks submitted at the same time, which were positional trademarks. There was the Vita and a DualShock controller.
Right.
In both of them, there was the image of the Vita that was seen, which was basically a 1000 series Vita.
Yeah.
The 3G one, and most people saw the 3G port for the SIM card and thought that must be a HDMI socket.
What?
People made assumptions, and obviously wrongly, thinking it was a new Vita. The DualShock controller, which people didn't pick up on in the news stories, was linked in with it as well, submitted simultaneously.
Right.
The key thing in both is that the bulk of the actual hardware itself was ghosted out in the documents. In trademark applications, that's basically say all of that is irrelevant in the actual design.
Exactly. Right.
The only things that were clearly defined were the action buttons, as in square, circle, triangle, cross.
Yeah.
The reason for that is that what Sony were doing was reapplying,
for the square,
re-registering the trademark for the square, circle, triangle, cross, and the position of them.
Right.
To basically say, we use these buttons, this is where we put them, this is where we put them on a controller, this is where we put them on a Vita. We want to make sure we keep the trademark.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's all they're doing.
Because they'll have to do that every 10 years.
They have to do that every so often. They were re-registering their trademark.
Yeah.
And that was basically all they were doing.
God, it's a non-story made up by...
It was a non-story. Someone saw the trademark registration document and it got out of hand and everywhere picked up on it.
Including MCV.
Everywhere. But only, I think, one site has published a correction. And to my knowledge, there's only two sites that have actually published something saying, no, it was wrong. And that's DualShockers and us.
Yeah. Clickbait.
Yeah, and it worked. It was hilarious. I mean, we were actually in the process of trying to recruit some people obviously we're trying to recruit some new writers. Someone did actually send me that as a sample news piece.
Oh dear.
They sent it to me. I mean, hadn't been posting any news on the site for a few days at that point. They sent it to me. I thought, no, this does not look right.
No, right.
Done a bit of digging, found copies of the trademark submission documents, and so that's when obviously I put the real story online. But it was it's just one of those things that shows how quickly a story can get out of hand when it's not accurate.
Yep, quite.
But still funny to see.
This just make you think, doesn't it? Quite where some of these stories come from. Anyway, right.
PlayStation 5, anybody?
Yeah. It'll just be another PC, just like PS4. See that coming.
But the thing is, when there is a 3000 series Vita announced eventually, then either no one's going to believe it or who knows what. But
better have an OLED screen.
Anyway,
right. What have I been playing? Nothing. I've been, to be honest, I got a little time in on Germinator earlier, but I've been so busy with other stuff. For those of you who are listening who don't know, not only am I trying to hold down a normal job like everybody else in the UK and, struggling, I also write the Amiga column in Micromart, and
You nicked my job.
Shut up! That was 15, 16 years ago. You stepped down. Shut up.
I didn't. I did not step down. They actually dropped the column.
Did they?
They actually dropped that column, and then you nicked it.
I didn't nick it. I made my own. I just happened to be writing it for 15 years now.
You stole my column from that mag.
It's a small world. As well as that, I've also do geekology in geekology formats, and with a bit of luck, I might be getting some work on Den of Geek. So yeah, busy.
A little bit busier.
Yeah, and I went to First Contact Day in Leicester, and I've run a little meeting, helped run Geek Meet. So yes, had a little bit on my mind and a little bit to deal with, and not much time to play games. So what have you been playing?
Resogun yet again.
Well, what a shock! I must admit that when I'm having chance to play on the PS4, which isn't very often at the moment, I've got the DLC for it, and being able to turn the humans into lemmings. I can't think why that titillates me. Let's go.
I'm not saying a word.
Well, quite. But there's also add-ons in there as well for a commando mode, with a very good Arnold Schwarzenegger impression going on while you're playing Missile Command, essentially. So, yeah. And there's a sort of like a mode where you're using a ball as a wrecking ball, and you have to set off an explosion to get it moving and to take out everything on the screen. It's really quite fun. I do hope those DLC units come over to the Vita, because that'd be great for mobile play.
Hopefully. I mean, they've done quite a good job with the actual base conversion, haven't they? So
yes, yeah, absolutely.
And they managed to they brought the DLC over for Dead Nation as well, didn't they?
So fingers crossed.
And it's the same developers that ported it.
Yeah, so fingers crossed. We'll see.
All being well.
What else are you
playing? Strangely, One Piece Unlimited World Red.
Okay.
I've been getting into that quite a lot. I say strangely because I've never watched an episode of the cartoon.
Okay.
Had no interest in...
Did you just call One Piece a cartoon?
Well, cartoon anime.
I've got people in the background going, "Oh, you can't do that." It's anime.
Never watched an episode. Had no interest in watching it. So for me to actually enjoy playing it, I think says a lot about the game itself.
Yeah.
Animation is absolutely gorgeous. Visually, it looks absolutely brilliant.
Cool.
You know, it just looks. It looks like just animation. Doesn't look like a game.
Yeah.
Throughout. Camera angles occasionally a little bit fiddly.
Yeah.
But apart from that, I mean, it's they've done a really good job on keeping it as a solid game without you needing to be familiar with the characters.
Yep.
So that's taken up a fair bit of time at the moment, and quirky at times. But I think whether it would appeal more to people who are fans of the actual anime itself rather than the casual gamer. But apart from that, it's Zen Pinball 2 again.
Oh dear. Okay.
It's okay. I'm a bit of a pinball nut on the Vita. Okay, on the PS3, but more the Vita.
Yeah.
But Zen Pinball 2 has taken up a lot of time thanks to the latest tables that Zen have released, which is Star Wars Rebels and Avengers Age of Ultron.
Right.
But both of these are quite weird as well because, or for me at least, I haven't seen Age of Ultron yet.
Right, neither have I.
And I haven't seen any episodes of Star Wars Rebels.
Okay, neither have I.
So playing two tables based on licensed material that I haven't seen is kind of a weird thing to do, obviously.
Yeah.
Star Wars Rebels I'm absolutely loving. I mean, it's really got that Star Wars feel to it.
Oh, that'll put me off then.
But all the Star Wars tables are like that. I mean, they're
Yeah.
absolutely fantastic, and Rebels is no exception. Age of Ultron, so far it hasn't felt like an Avengers table.
Okay.
So I don't think it's their strongest table so far.
Right.
Yeah, they've done much better Marvel tables, and it just doesn't seem to. It hasn't gelled with me at all yet.
Right. Yet you're playing it.
It's a Zen pinball table.
Okay.
I'll still keep playing. I'll play any of them, to be honest.
Okay.
Even the weaker ones, I'll still keep coming back to play them. But it's not one of their strongest tables so far.
Is there a Trek table on there?
Not on Zen Pinball, but there is on Pinball Arcade.
Okay.
But obviously the Pinball Arcade tables are all based on real tables. They're recreations of them, and the Pinball Arcade, they've recreated the Star Trek The Next Generation table.
All hands prepare for multi-ball?
Yep.
Okay, why does he say multi-ball? He's British. It's multi-ball.
But that one is a spot-on recreation of the original.
Okay, I'm going to have to track that down, maybe. Track it down. Sorry.
Well, I remember you weren't particularly good at it when you played it around here that one time.
How would I remember?
But, I mean, that is just... They've done such a good job converting that.
Fair enough.
Whether they bring out any of the other Star Trek tables or not, I don't know. But obviously it's an expensive license to get.
Yeah, especially now.
But Farsight Studios, they're a little bit sluggish with their Vita releases at the moment. There are quite a few tables behind for the Vita.
Oh, right, okay.
But the Addams Family should have been out a few weeks ago. That's the one I'm looking forward to the most now from them.
Okay. Fair enough.
I just love playing that in the arcades. So those are, but that's what I'm on at the moment. So it's a combination really, but more probably One Piece and Zen Pinball.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Cool.
Anyway, we mentioned earlier about PlayStation Plus and indie games, and gamers at the moment, obviously, I think we've said, they are getting a little bit tired of indie games on PlayStation Plus. But there seems to be an attitude lately towards indie games as a whole from some people that they don't seem to consider them being proper games.
Which just seems totally ridiculous.
Yeah,
to me, anyway.
Yeah, there's a lot of people seem to be comparing indie games now. Well, comparing indie games and being dismissive towards them, dismissing them as being little more than sort of Android and iOS games, and it's...
Ugh.
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, yet another indie game. It's just, it's quite a dismissive attitude that a lot of people are taking, and in a very derogatory way.
Yeah. Oh dear. I don't understand where this is, what the thinking is behind this, because if you play some of these games, I mean, okay, some of them are overcharged, sort of like iOS and Android stuff, perhaps, but they're on a platform that's capable of making them better games. I mean, you've actually got buttons and everything. So I don't quite understand people's attitudes. The problem is that if we don't have this kind of thing happening, this kind of entry level for developers, then we're going to end up just stuck in the same old cycle of the same games being repackaged and reproduced with different graphics and better graphics, and that's it. It's as if they don't realise what they're saying a lot of the time about these games. I mean, have they played them? No.
Well, this is the thing, there's so many people that seem to be calling for more games on the Vita, but the second they see any sort of announcement about any Vita title, it's a case of, we don't want this indie crap, all we want are AAA games. And, I paid so much for my Vita, I don't want an indie games machine.
Well,
and, yeah, it
seems to be missing the point that a lot of these games are coming from the PC. So would you rather go and buy a PC to play them on?
Surprisingly, the comments that do seem to go around from a lot of people is that, yes, it's like, if I want to play indie games, I'd use a PC. I want AAA games on the Vita and nothing else.
Good luck playing that on the bus.
But there's the thing, it misses the point of what a handheld device is meant to be. It's a portable machine that you play when you're out and about anyway, but which is something I've maintained a lot about the Vita for some time now, that if you're out and about, you're going to play a console on the move. You're not going to play it for long periods of time. You want a quick gaming fix, maybe sort of 30 minutes, 40 minutes at a time.
Which is why cross play, cross save are so important.
Yeah. But games that you can have a quick sort of half-hour game of, and then shut it down, come back to it a bit later. That's what the Vita works best on.
Yeah,
on the Vita,
exactly.
on the DS. Nintendo have got that sussed.
Yeah, this is the thing: is on the PSP, we had this issue where they tried converting this, that, and everything to match the PS2 or PS3 version of the game, and they didn't sell.
Mm.
So, damned if you do, damned if you don't situation, really.
I mean, the Vita's got the strength to be able to put into standby mode, so you can play longer games. Which, when you can't get to a save point.
Yeah.
I mean, I found that when I've been playing things like Final Fantasy. If I go on the bus, whack the Vita into standby mode, then come back a couple of hours later and carry on.
Yeah.
But for the most part, if I'm out travelling, I'm using the Vita, I will deliberately play games where I know I've got either plenty of save points or something I can play quickly, 10-15 minutes, save it, onto something else. But what is starting to irk me quite a lot is the fact that people are saying that the only type of games they're interested in on their Vita is AAA and nothing else.
Well, good luck with that, because there aren't any Western AAA games on it coming out. Depending on what you mean by AAA.
Well, this is the thing, what do you define as AAA anyway? But
because I wouldn't define Disney Infinity as a AAA game, to be fair. AA maybe, but that's not a AAA game. That's not a COD. It's not, one of the multi-million selling units. So I don't understand where people are coming from.
Well, I think everyone's got their own definitions of AAA anyway when it comes to games. But in terms of what people want from, I think we said before anyway, if a game is good, does it matter who it comes from, who the developer is?
Quite.
But anything that you can play on a console, whether it's something like Run Sackboy Run or Call of Duty, they've all got an equal place on the Vita.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's a machine designed for playing games.
Exactly.
It was never designed to say, "Ooh, I can only run AAA games. I can only run PS3 quality games." Yes, I think Sony have a lot to answer for in the way they marketed the Vita from the start.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even then though, it's like you look at the launch lineup. Half of it was downloadable games which were what we would classify as indie. So you're just like, well, where are people getting the idea that it's going to be just AAA games? I mean, okay, we've now got to a situation where Sony have virtually abandoned Vita development in the West. Okay, in Japan, they're obviously pushing it because it's a massive selling console over there.
Well, they haven't abandoned development. It's just the it's the AAA development they've sort of.
That's what I mean. They've abandoned AAA development, and they're relying on outside sources to provide code for them to release as sort of like UK and American digital releases. It's nothing being developed internally at Sony. Let's not beat about the bush.
But the thing is, it's a case of, do we necessarily need everything to come from Sony anyway?
No, but something would be nice.
Yeah, I mean, as long as if we're getting games that Sony are actually supporting and backing. I mean, TXK was funded by Sony. Resogun was a Sony-funded project. So we're getting the games where it counts. That Sony are putting their money into, and we're getting the quality stuff.
Yeah, but they were both on the way before. It feels like Sony's pulled the plug, which is annoying. But yeah, I mean, at least
because TXK wouldn't have happened if it hadn't been for Sony.
Well, no, but that was some time ago. That's an old game now. What worries me is that at the moment Sony seem to be relying on what's coming out in Japan, and then whatever Sahid can get his mitts on.
The problem is, I don't think anyone really knows what's going on inside Sony's head. Okay, using not an individual head as such, but
3 characters, P, S, and 4. That's what's going on, because they've abandoned the PS3 as well, from the looks of things.
Well, I think PS3's how old's PS3 now? It's coming up for 10 years old, isn't it? So
Not yet. It's only 8 years in the UK. But you just got to you have got to consider the fact that that machine is capable of so much. And the PS4 really isn't in that much advance of the PS3, and yet they're keeping the hardware cost of the PS3 really high. They're keeping the retail cost on their games really high, rather than using it as an entry-level console, which makes no sense.
I don't think there's anyone at Sony that seems to know sort of, in terms of marketing. I think they still need to try and do something there to let people know what's going on with their systems.
Yeah, I mean, with PS4 even, they seem to be not reacting to the fact they're losing ground. I mean, okay, they've got the biggest selling console in history, the fastest selling console in history on their hands, but Microsoft are stalking, and you've got a situation where there's loads of features missing on the PS4. I mean, loads. It's the fact that you've got a console that cannot do half the things its predecessor can do just seems insane.
I think the issue there is more a case of they've done what they need to do.
Yeah.
The rest, I think, it's going to come in time, but I don't think they're in a rush to do it because people have got the machines anyway.
Yeah.
And because nothing was openly promised as being out of the box,
Quite.
then there's no legal obligation for it to be there straight away.
Quite.
This is the thing, while remote play existed with the Vita and the PS3, it was never a promised feature.
What do you mean?
I mean, remote play was never a mass. It never worked brilliantly with the Vita and the PS3, but it was never it was never a big selling point of the console on the packaging or anything, was it?
I assume not. I don't remember.
So,
I mean, I know with the PSP and the PS3, it was a letdown, but that's because Sony made it an option rather than it being part of the standard, which is why the Vita and the PS4 work so much better than the PSP and the PS3 did, because developers had
to do it.
Yeah, and well, not even that, because the PSP and the PS3 were kind of supposed to go together in a way, but it's just that they let it be optional. So apart from Lego Batman, a few and every PlayStation 1 game that you could put the disc into the PS3, there's not much else that would work with it, which is something that they sorted out by making it a hardware-driven underlying. You have to opt out rather than opt into it.
Well, I think that's the thing. I mean, I think Sony probably realise that if they don't make any promises, then they can't be held to them afterwards, or at least they don't have to promise any set timescales of what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I think all these features will come in time.
No, I'm not going to bet on it at this point.
But I'll just say it's a case of probably a wait and see more than anything else.
And there's things they need to sort out in the Vita still, so we'll see.
We're getting there. I mean, look at the 100 icon limit.
Well, yeah.
I mean, how many times has that pissed people off for years?
Well, quite. Absolutely.
I mean, if the 100 icon limit was still there, my Vita would be unusable now.
Well, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, my retail collection plus the system icons wouldn't actually fit onto a Vita if the 100 icon limit was still in place. But
yeah, there you go.
And we've totally got off track again. But with the indie games, though, I think one thing people do tend to complain about is the actual look and the styling of a lot of games, I think. Because a lot seem to obviously have influenced by 8-bit and 16-bit games.
Yeah.
And a lot of people tend to say, they don't want an old school sort of retro sort of 8-bit, 16-bit gaming machine.
No, couldn't possibly want anything that looks like that and is playable.
But that is something that seems to be aggravating a lot of people from indie games at the moment.
Yeah, but it's usual. They haven't played them. It's like, it doesn't look any good. I'm not going to play them. Well, try playing them, okay? Because you'll suddenly find that, it's actually more playable than some of the crap that's been put out on the other consoles. Frankly.
So obviously, we've had Shovel Knight recently. Axiom Verge obviously has got a very sort of 8-bit, 16-bit look. Retro City Rampage, I know that's been out for a while now, but we've got the DX version, which is actually just been released as a physical cartridge.
Right.
I know we've been talking about physical and digital, but now there's just a limited edition cartridge of that.
Okay,
I've
cool.
got my copy on the way next week.
Hey, another one of the 100. How many games have you got now that are physical? It's 90 something.
Physically sitting here, there's 90.
Okay. So, there's no games with Vita.
No, not at all.
Not at all, no.
I won't tell you how big the collection is overall.
I'd hate to think with all digital. I mean, you've got what, was it some stupid number of hundreds in PlayStation Mobile alone?
If I count PlayStation Mobile and PSP, PS1, and physical, it's probably... Well, I know it's over 800.
There's no games on the machine.
But no.
No.
There's
Nothing
nothing
to play.
There's nothing you can get for the Vita. No. It's like... No, but... No, I think that games that have got this sort of old look. I know people expect all these sort of CGI rendered graphics and full 3D games and everything, but if a game's playable and it's fun, who cares if it's got 2D sort of hand-drawn artwork? I mean...
I don't, because I'd rather have that than Rise of the Robots.
Oh. Don't go there.
Oh no, this is a massive game. It's going to be like £40 on the Amiga and be on like 14 discs. It must be fantastic. No,
don't go there. I was trying to forget about that game.
It's rendered graphics. Woo! No, Wolf Combat. Thank you.
But I mean, something like Aqua Kitty. Brilliant Defender update. Obviously, all hand-drawn pixel artwork.
Yeah.
Bloody fantastic shoot 'em up, whether you play the PlayStation Mobile version or the Vita upgrade.
Yeah.
Hotline Miami is one of those games. It's the Marmite of the gaming world. Some people love it, some people hate it.
Yeah.
But I could list tons of games. That they're all okay. They've got this 8-bit, 16-bit look. Even if you didn't grow up in that era. All these developers are doing, they're focusing on solid gameplay more than anything else.
Right.
But people just can't seem to look past that.
Yeah.
Okay, a lot of developers are kind of trying to relive their childhood through the games they're writing.
Yeah.
And we don't necessarily want every developer to suddenly turn around and write another Mario and another Sonic clone.
Exactly, no. Can I have Zool, please?
You're gonna have to ask Sumo Digital.
Okay, they got the rights at the minute.
I don't know, but that's who Gremlin turned into, I think, isn't it?
Oh, is it? Okay, yeah. It's
think...
like, guys, you know the original Amiga demo from CU Amiga, where he had the spells? Can we have that game, please?
But I think a lot of the games I know I can understand the comments where you're getting so many indie titles that do play the same, or they're very similar game styles.
Yeah.
But the overall look of being an 8-bit styled game, as long as it's a fun game and playable, who cares?
Yeah.
I just think people need to give a few more games a try, I think. But...
I tell you what would be funny is if Sony managed to get a re-release of the original Grand Theft Auto as a PS1 classic. That would open a few eyes, wouldn't it?
I thought it already was.
It isn't, no. You can only get the Vita games at the moment. So that would be hilarious.
Well, there's elements of that actually in Retro City Rampage, though.
Is there? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it has got that top-down... Obviously, it's a top-down view game, but there are elements of Grand Theft Auto in its gameplay to a degree. Okay. So, there's hints of it anyway.
Yeah.
But I don't know if people would know what to make of it now, to be honest, if they play the original GTA. Or it would just be rejected outright.
Quite possibly, which is in itself a bit of a shame. But there you go.
Anyway, seeing how long we've been sort of ranting on for, I think we've kind of... so we don't end up with about a 4-hour show.
Yeah.
I know there's a few other things that we wanted to try and put in this time, but I think we'll kind of skip over them till the next show, I think.
Okay.
Competitions, because we know everybody loves to win stuff.
Yes, this is true.
Over on Twitter, we've been doing some giveaways for Project Root for the Vita from Reverb Triple XP. Basically, a top-down shooter which is intended to be cross-buy with the PS4.
Right.
It is in America, which is where Reverb, Triple XP are based.
Yeah.
It isn't in the EU at the moment, but they are working with Sony to actually correct that.
Right. Okay.
The codes, we've been given a code to give away. The reason I've mentioned about the cross-buy is that some of the codes we've been given away have been the Vita ones, and some have been for the PS4.
Epic.
As far as we know, these are all meant to be the Vita codes.
Okay.
So the one we're going to be giving away now, as far as we know, it's a Vita code.
Right.
If the winner gets it and it turns out to be a PS4 code,
yeah,
don't worry.
Yeah,
because
it should be
obviously
cross-buy
once
right.
Reverb Triple XP have got the situation sorted with Sony, cross-buy will kick in and you'll get the Vita version as well. So regardless, you'll end up with 2 copies of the game. Cool. Anyway, to get a copy of Project Root, this is going to be the toughest competition we have ever run. So we don't know if any of you are actually going to have a chance of winning this, to be honest. So do you want to tell them?
Yes. Simply, all we want you to do is email us at contact@vitaplayer.co.uk. That's contact@vitaplayer, all one word, .co.uk, with Project Root competition in the subject field, and simply tell us your name and say, I want to win Project Root. That's it. That's all I want you to do. If you can chuck that to us, and we'll select a winner at random. Please bear in mind the competition closes on the 24th of May, 2015, in case you're listening to this sometime in the future.
If you're listening to this in the past, we'd love to know how you managed it.
Yes. If you're listening to it in the past, can we borrow your TARDIS? We have some lottery numbers we want to input.
And as well as that, I'm sure we made some mistakes. We'd like to go back and correct them in the recording.
Yes, and our lives. There's also a competition at the moment on the website to win a PlayStation TV. The full details of that are on the site, but we're looking for site visitors to write reviews of a game before the end of May, and the best review will win a PlayStation TV console. So if you pop to www.vitaplayer.co.uk, that's www.vitaplayer.co.uk, and check out the competition.
Now, listening to you saying that, I can just picture someone sitting at the keyboard typing Vita Player,
yeah.
all
one word.
Yeah,
I can see it. I was seeing it as I was saying it. I was like, really? Why am I saying this? Do I really have to say this? No, I know I have to say this. But there we go. Anyway, enough of us going on and on and on and on and on. I think that's it for this episode of the podcast. We will be back in the not too distant future with the 4th episode?
Yep.
It's the 4th episode. And we're looking at doing one on sort of like retro remakes and stuff that's getting a new coat of paint for Vita release.
Ooh, shiny.
Shiny. Unless, of course, someone pops up and wants to is quite willing to have an interview with us, at which point that might get pumped up an episode. But
we do have a very, very, very special guest who will be joining us very shortly once we can get together with them on Skype.
Okay.
We're not going to say too much else, but it is going to be a voice actor who's worked on quite a few games that have appeared on the Vita.
Okay, cool.
That's got everyone wondering, hasn't it?
That's a bit. Anyway, if you've got any comments or questions, please feel free to email us at contact@vitaplayer, all one word, .co.uk. That's contact@vitaplayer.co.uk.
And as always, the music featured in the show is called 8-Bit Rocktronic and by Edward Blakely, and the music's been supplied by shockwavesound.com.
Anyway, thank you everyone for listening and putting up with us, and you'll hear from us again soon. Take care now. Bye.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click on the like button and leave us a comment below. Also, spare a moment to share this video on Twitter, Facebook, and all your social media pages. To get updates on all of our latest videos delivered straight to your inbox, subscribe now using the link on the screen.